Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
So in philosophy, a zombie is the idea that there could be a parallel universe, if you like, another world that's exactly the same as the world that we live in, the universe that we live in, with one major exception. In this other world, there is no consciousness, that it's inhabited by purely physical beings that don't have any feeling, don't have any awareness, don't have any desires. They can speak exactly the same as we do, so all the physical aspects of what they do, they behave exactly as we do. They would have a brain that looks identical to our brain. So objectively, they would be identical to us, but there would be nobody home. Mm-hmm. There's nobody present to feel anything. And that's a philosophical zombie. It's the idea that that conceivably a world could exist where such creatures are real. Yeah. And philosophers come up with that idea to basically make the argument, if so, then that indicates that we cannot equate brain and consciousness or brain and mind, that there is a distinction, that if you can have a world that is identical with our world in every physical respect, and yet it doesn't account for the presence of consciousness. Therefore, we cannot say that consciousness is a product of or equates with events that go on in the brain. That's essentially the reason for the philosophical zombie. It's a thought experiment. It's a thought experiment, yes. Yeah.
If you can imagine such a world, then you might be able to imagine the idea that consciousness is somehow independent of our physical being.
If not independent of, at least not reducible to. You cannot equate consciousness with the events that go on in the nervous system and the brain. That consciousness is something over and above our brain and our bodies. That by understanding everything about the brain will not tell us what we need to know about the existence of consciousness.
And in a certain sense, you might say that a computer is like a zombie. It has enormous intelligence. It can calculate much more rapidly than the human brain can calculate, but we have no reason to think that a computer is conscious.
I would agree with that. And that brings up another topic that we may or may not go into, which is artificial intelligence. Yes. And I think the phrase artificial intelligence is an oxymoron, that computers are not intelligent. They don't feel, they don't think. They compute very rapidly, which is essentially a mechanical process. They're just very, very quick operating machines. But again, like the zombie, there's nobody home in the computer. There is no feeling in the computer. And even if we were to clothe the computer in a humanoid form, like a robot, an android, that would look exactly as us, then we would have created a physical manifestation of what the philosophers call a philosophical zombie. You'd have a being that's purely physical, that looks and behaves like us in every way, including speaking like us. It might even say, I think, therefore I am, but there would be no awareness present in that computer, in that robot.
Well, it's not a far-fetched idea, because there are many companies today who are manufacturing robots, and there's every reason to think that they will be more and more realistic year by year.
Yes.